Disability Advocates of Kent County's mission is to work alongside people with disabilities so they can live self-directed lives and to advocate for an accessible and welcoming community.
We have to be open to include as many people as we possibly can. That includes having access. That includes making sure that people aren't in any way put in different categories, that we all have the same opportunity to do, because this city needs everybody, all hands on deck.
Disability Advocates of Kent County is a place where individuals with disabilities can find acceptance and a voice and advocacy, resources, and feel that they are a part of the process.
So often we see things like learning disabilities and cognitive impairments where students fear those words for social reasons. Our first step when we're working with youth with a disability is accepting and embracing and empowering that disability.
So for example, someone may have a disability that is physical, someone may have a disability that's mental health related. Those persons are going to need the support services of numerous organizations. An organization like Disability Advocates can help us cut through those gaps and avoid the conversations where only one aspect of disability is being addressed.
I have been a consumer first as a disabled veteran. I had a stroke about 6 years ago, and they put me in independent living and said, we're going to teach you how to be disabled. And so that was my first connection with Disability Advocates of Kent County, was they came along and offered peer support to help me learn how to be disabled.
Well, I think it's important to have that peer group, somebody who can really walk alongside you as you're trying to figure out how you fit in and how you can access your home, community, and employment.
We're a little bit different than the average in-home occupational therapy evaluation because we actually do that piece, that implementation of the plan. We're not just saying to the person, okay, you need a tub transfer bench and a wheelchair ramp. Here's some places to call. Good luck. We're actually implementing the plan with them and working with them to make it happen.
So our relationship with Disability Advocates is really crucial for us to stretch our resources and for them to do as well. We can bring our expertise and they can bring theirs, and we can hand batons off at the right lines, and in the end, homeowners get a better experience and a better finished project because of it.
Because we really believe, and I believe, that people have the right to live as independently as they can. People are much happier, healthier, physically, emotionally, and spiritually when they're in a place that feels like it's their own.
She contributed a lot to my disability and actually made me more independent and told me I could do it. She actually told me that on a daily basis. I was always like, well, I don't know if I should be leaving here. I don't know if I'm ready to leave here and all of that stuff. And she was like, oh, you're ready.
I move people out into their own apartments, and then we have our occupational therapy program right in the office. So I partner with our OTs, and they're coming out to meet with my people once they're in their new home, and we're getting them set up with any sort of adaptive equipment or durable medical equipment they need so they can stay safe.
The majority of our staff, the vast majority of our board and volunteers are people with disabilities. And so as I like to say, it's the people who can say I are the ones who need to be at the microphone. So that is our most important role, bringing folks with disabilities together, organizations that support people with disabilities, bringing folks together so we can move forward together.
We all have an obligation to take care of each other, and if one of us needs a bit of a helping hand, Disability Advocates is very good at offering that helping hand.
Being able to access everything that I used to be able to access and that you can access is huge. All those types of freedoms will make it so that I can get back to my basic human needs and all my life, and all the things I want to do, I get to actually pursue.
The best way to make sure that people with disabilities are part of the conversation is to include us, to put us on community boards, to allow us to volunteer with your organization, to allow us to go to school with your kids. Make sure that your restaurants are accessible, your bars are accessible, that your community is someplace that is first physically welcoming.
If you want to be a world-class destination that's open and accessible and inclusive for all, that's got to be at the top of the charts. Because if you don't, we're not going to get convention business. We're not going to get concerts. It really goes to the bottom line when you think about it.
At the city, we have a lot of departments that work on a lot of different issues in the city. And we need disability advocates and their voice at every single one of those tables. That voice is so critical for so much of the work that we do.
We like to kind of say that the ADA is the worst you can legally do. We as disability advocates have been doing a lot of great work over the last 2 years with local designers, builders, architects, developers, talking about universal design.
So what is universal design? From a layman's standpoint, it's zero-step walkway. It's a ramp instead of stairs. Handles that are used by somebody that can't grip. Water fountains at the right level. It's so many things that are simple. These are the things that are done when things are designed and built so that anybody can use those facilities.
And so when we have people that are willing to partner with us, like disability advocates, that are truly advocates, to come in and work with us to do an assessment at the very beginning of what could be a future project is very important and just helps continue a legacy that we hold dear for our institution.
Anywhere around 20% of us are people with disabilities today. However, you have an 80% likelihood of acquiring a disability before you die, because you will be a person with a disability if you live long enough, and you will need accessible restrooms, accessible parking, accessible hotel rooms, because we want everybody to be as active as possible, no matter what their age is, no matter what their ability level is.
One of our goals is to be an age-friendly city as well. So as people age, we want them to age in place. And we want to think about what are the different needs for individuals as they age, and how do we make sure that we are designing a city that is accessible for everyone, regardless of what phase or stage of life that they're in.
One of the last constituencies to kind of get overlooked, not intentionally, is people living with disabilities. And it's because they don't have the kind of voice that so many other minority groups or populations have. And that's the critical role that disability advocates plays.
The decisions at a policy level have huge impact on people's lives that you don't really know it unless you hit the barriers that those policy decisions create.
We got an opportunity to meet our legislators, our state representatives, our senators for our district, and we were able to voice our concerns as it related to education, transportation, the care that we receive from our caregivers. It is definitely an experience to have a voice and not just, a place to complain so that we can, have a quality of life just like everybody else.
I want people to look at me and go, oh my God, there's Doug, there's Doug as a person. Not as a disability, but as a person.
If you include more and more people with disabilities in the community and schools, that folks grow up with us as friends, as co-workers, as bosses. And I think it's a relationship thing, perhaps, in terms of making sure that the word gets out about respect of people with disabilities, and don't make assumptions about what we can or cannot do.